Welcome to our presentation. We look forward to sharing this time with you. Take copious notes. Enjoy.
Well, unfortunately, I was not good at either one of those. Okay. I learned early on. I mean, I had my little miniature afro and stuff, but my afro never grew out as big as Michael Jackson. So I knew that was not going to be my my pathway. And I wasn't blessed with a voice to sing. My wife is, not me. Okay. Um, so that being said, I played sports up until the ninth grade. But in the ninth grade, I realized quickly that it was not going to be a career path. Okay. So I always wanted to be rich, but what happened to me when I entered the corporate America, I actually started working outside of the home in the restaurants when I was 13 years old. My parents told us there was four of us, and they had moved out of the hood, and they were trying to, make ends meet. So my parents told us that if we got a job during the summer, that would help them as far as buying school clothes. And so what ended up happening was all four of us ended up getting a job. I was 13 years old. I had a social security card. I lied and said I was 16 years old. Again, I believe in being very transparent. And started working in corporate America when I was 13 years old um, a bus boy, at a restaurant called Bonanza Steakhouse. And I don't know if any of them are still in existence. And I worked in restaurants for 4 years, worked in the banking field for 5.5 years, and then I went to the chemical plant. And at the chemical plant, that was the most money I'd ever made in my life. And so I thought that was going to be my American dream. Unfortunately, up until I got into the chemical plant, I did what most people do in corporate America is that they stop dreaming. Matter of fact, do me a favor, put a three in the chat if you or somebody you know basically gave up on their dreams when they entered the corporate America, of being rich, living a certain lifestyle and everything else. They began to settle and they basically settled for the status quo, which by the way is Latin for the mess we're in. And so I settled, I stopped dreaming. And one of the reasons why I got involved in network marketing, again, it was desperation on my part, is that after 12 years at the chemical plant, my life was drastically interrupted with a little thing that's commonplace in corporate America. They call that a merger. And the first lie that they told us is that nobody had anything to worry about. 6 months later, we were blindsided. It was a merger of three companies in the chemical field. It was OxyChem, Lyondell, and Millennium. They formed Equistar Chemicals. Okay. The three of them left. All right, good deal, preacher. And so what ended up happening? Uh, The first lie they told us, they said nobody had anything to worry about. 6 months later, we were blindsided, and they said one out of four by Christmas, and that was cruel, ladies and gentlemen. Right before Christmas, they laid off 264 of my friends. Okay, and although I was not a victim, I saw how some of their lives were devastated. Some of those guys never recovered. They had been there 15, 20, 30 years and stuff. Didn't have enough saved, and so it basically ruined their lives. And so that was my wake up call. And I'll share with you guys, you've heard me say this many times. That was my wake up call. I recognized right then it did not make sense having all of your eggs in one basket, especially if you didn't own the basket. Let me say that again. I realized right then it did not make sense to have all of your eggs in one basket, especially if you didn't own the basket. And for those of you, I mean, one of the things I want each and every one of you guys to get today, if you don't learn anything else, you need to have multiple streams of income, multiple streams of revenue. Because if all you have today is a 9 to 5, you're what I call a volunteer victim. Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay. So you need to have multiple streams of revenue. I have four different streams of revenue. One in the network marketing space, have a consulting business, uh, have a roofing business, things of that nature. But we have four different streams of revenue. So that being said, when I first got involved in the space, it took me 7 years before I ever made six figures in network marketing like I did in the chemical field. Took me 7 years. And people ask me all the time, I mean, why? Because it wasn't because of lack of effort, it wasn't because of lack of work ethic. I was putting in 50, 60 hour weeks and stuff. But one thing that happened to me, I did not, I didn't have to have any skills to be successful in the network marketing space. And it took me 7 years to develop six-figure a year skills. Okay. And here's the long and short answer. People ask, why did it take so long? Here's the long and short answer. When I got involved in network marketing, I was 36 years young, and I had been in corporate America for 22 years. So I had 22 years of messed up programming. I had 22 years of being an employee programming. Okay. So I knew how to be an employee. I did not know how to employ me. I did not know how to make my calendar my boss. I mean, I had to develop the mentality that if it was not on the calendar, it did not exist. Okay. And once I developed that, I was able to I've earned way more money in network marketing than I ever did in corporate America. Way more money. I've had multiple six-figure years. I never did that in corporate America. Okay, 200, 300, 400,000 a year. I never done that in corporate America. I have in this space of network marketing. So I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm going to be, brutally honest. I'm going to be very transparent, but do me a favor. Put a 3 in the chat if you want to succeed in network marketing in 7K. And success is going to be relevant. So some of you, 5,000 a month, you're successful. Some of you, 10,000 a month is very successful. Some of you, 20,000 a month will take care of everything and uh, put icing on the cake. Some of you, 50,000 a month, whatever the case may be. So we're going to talk about what is it going to take for you to get to that place. Okay. We have the largest team in the company. And right now, I am the number one recruiter in 7K Metals company's history. Now, one of the things that contribute to that is that I am one of the founding members. So when they turned on the lights, November the 5th, 2016, I was there with 240 some other people. November the 5th, 2016. That's when now they signed the paperwork back in July that year. But when they turned on the lights for people can sign up and start earning commission, and I was one of 11 people that earned $1,000 commission the very first week of 7K. It was 11 of us that made $1,000 the very first week. Okay. Now from that time to now, I personally brought on board over 520 individuals. Okay. All that means I've had way more no's than anybody on this call, and I've gotten real good at putting people through a process. Now, and I have honed my skills, and I'm still honing my skills. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you guys today is I'm going to give you the formula to be successful, and we're going to talk about a particular skill that if you master that, my promise to you today is that success will not elude you. If your goal is to get 5,000 a month by the end of the year, you'll be able to do that. If your goal is to get to 10,000 a month by the end of the year, you'll be able to do that. If your goal is to get to 20,000 plus a month by the end of the year, if you master this particular skill, you'll be able to do that. Okay. Now, to be successful in network marketing, for those of you who have been to our Super Saturdays training, I talk about you're going to need 3 elements. Every successful network marketer that made 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, and 8 figures a year, they all had what I call the 3 legs of a stool. And I want you to write that down. The 3 legs of a stool. Okay? 3 legs of a stool. All right? Now, I'm not talking about 3 legs in your business or whatever. 3 legs of a stool. The first leg of a stool, if you're going to be successful, is the right mindset. Okay? The right mindset. You got to understand it is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You got to understand that attrition is a part of the game because that knocks out a lot of people. You got to understand that the people that started out in the freshman class, all of them won't become sophomores. You got to understand that all the sophomores won't become juniors. You got to understand all the juniors won't become seniors. And I hate to break it to you, all your seniors won't graduate. You got to understand, you got to grasp the concept that attrition is a part of the game. People will quit in the business. Most of the ones that quit, they're not making money, but I've had people that were making 5,000 a month that quit the business. I've had people on my team that made 10,000 a month, they quit the business. And most of them because they were offered what they thought greener pastures in another company. And they called me back a year later, 2 years later, and they were sad because they basically ruined what could have been a $20,000, $30,000 a month business in 7K. Okay. But I understand that. I mean, the quicker I recognize the fact that attrition is a part of the game, and I developed that mindset, again, my life got a lot better. Now, how do I get the right mindset? We're gonna encourage you. We're gonna share a couple of books today that has helped us develop the kind of mindset that allows you to make full-time, six-figure, seven and eight-figure year income. Uh, the right mindset, the beautiful thing about what you're gonna need to be successful, if you didn't come in with it, it can be learned. I want you to write that down. Whatever you need to be successful, if you didn't come in with it, it can be learned. This business of network marketing, according to Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote two books on network marketing. Although he never came in and built a business, he studied it. He went to a lot of companies, and then he listened to people that were successful. The first book he wrote on network marketing, he called it A Business for People Who Like Helping People. Okay. And in its purest form, network marketing is designed it's a business that if you do it right, it's a business for people who like helping other people. You'll be successful. And in order to get the right mindset, we're going to encourage you to start reading different books. I mean, you have to retrain the brain. Okay, like I said, I had 22 years of corporate America experience. I had 22 years of employee mindset, and I had to develop an entrepreneur mindset, totally different mindset. So how I developed the entrepreneur mindset, I started reading books. I started working on me. The great Jim Rohn put it like this. He said, you'll have success in this arena of network marketing when you work harder on yourself than you do on your business. So the first book I recommend everyone to get that will help you tremendously on your mindset. It's not the end all be all, but it'll put you on the right path. It's a book called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkerson. I want you to write that down. The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkerson. Okay. Now, if that name sounds familiar, he is also the author of The Prayer of Jabez. So, what is The Dream Giver all about? It's written in parable form, so everybody here can relate to the main character in the book. Who is the main character in the book? The main character in the book is called Ordinary. It starts out by saying, meet Ordinary, a nobody who lived in the land of familiar. But he had enough courage, he had enough intestinal fortitude to leave the land of familiar to go out to pursue his big dream. Bruce Wilkerson. Yes, Bruce. Now, ordinary, everybody here can relate to ordinary because, like it or not, agree with him or not, at one point in your life, if not multiple times in your life, somebody referred to you as Mr. or Mrs. Ordinary. Okay? If you be honest with yourself. I know some of y'all feel like y'all been exceptional all your life. Not the case. Okay? Now, ordinary, uh, he lived in the same community that everybody else in familiar lived in. He worked the same job that everybody in familiar worked. He came home and watched the same income reducing box that everybody else in familiar did. But one day, ordinary got a dream from the dream giver. Okay, he got a dream from the dream giver, and he decided to go out to pursue his big dream. Okay, and here's my promise to each and every one of you that have a dream is that what happened to ordinary, if you have the courage to pursue your big dream, is going to happen to you. Let me say that again. What happened to ordinary will happen to you if you have the courage and intestinal fortitude to go after your big dream. Matter of fact, one of the movies I recommend you to watch if you hadn't already watched it, and it was recommended to us by one of the co-founders, Zach Davis, is a book called The Greatest Showman. Okay, and it's a story about one of the greatest promoters of all time, P.T. Barnum. I would recommend you to get. I've seen the movie 30, 40 times. And one of the things that always inspires me, it's a musical, but it's a great movie, but it's about the real life character, P.T. Barnum, who was the author of Barnum and Bailey Circus, okay? But one of the things that always impressed me about that, you see what people are willing to go through if they really believe in their goals and dreams. Because he went through all kind of stuff and he was successful to get his dream, okay? But here's what happened to Ordinary, and I'm just going to give you the gist of it. Ordinary, the moment he decided to go after his big dream, all hell broke loose. Okay. he started having issues with his best friend. He started having issues with his parents. And you got to realize everybody that want to argue to you about your dream, they didn't see what you saw. They didn't have the same dream. So don't spend time arguing with folk about your dream. They didn't see it. I mean, it wasn't a conference call. It was something that you saw. Okay. And so what ended up happening, the first thing Ordinary had to do, and the first thing you're going to have to do is get outside your comfort zone. Some of the reason why some of you haven't reached your goals and dreams because you're staying inside your comfort zone. People ask me all the time, where's $2,000 a month hiding from me in 7K Metals? Newsflash, just outside your comfort zone. Where's 5,000 a month hiding from me? Just outside your comfort zone. You've got to be willing to do the things today that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow that others won't have. And so when Ordinary, the moment he stepped outside his comfort zone, I mean, he started having issues with folks. He ran into border bullies, people that tried to get him to go back to familiar. But what expedited Ordinary success and what will expedite your success, you heard Chris Ladden talked about it, is that Ordinary found him a mentor. Okay, he found him a mentor. And what's the difference? Because in network marketing, I want you to write this down. You're always going to have two types of people that will try to give you advice. You're going to have advisors. You're going to have mentors. You need to know the difference. An advisor is someone who want to tell you how to go across town. They can't even drive the car. You want to stay clear of those individuals. You're going to have all kind of people that want to tell you how to make money in 7K Metals, but they've been in twice the amount of time as you, and you at a higher rank. Okay. They want to tell you how to make six figures. They've never made five figures. Okay. So an advisor, again, is just somebody that love to hear themselves talk, but they don't have the track record. They don't have the background to back it up. What's a mentor? A mentor is someone who has had the kind of success you want to have. They are having the kind of success you want to have, but more importantly, they're willing to sow into your life so that you can have that same level of success, if not greater. And the beautiful thing about if you're part of this company, there are hundreds of real mentors out there, and there are many of them that are on this call today. Okay? So Ordinary found him a mentor. His mentor was called somebody who was a champion. Okay? So Ordinary, throughout the building, you got to read the story. Ordinary went from being a nobody to becoming a somebody. And at the end of the story, Ordinary becomes the champion. But what expedited Ordinary success, he found him a mentor and he followed what his mentor told him to do. Okay? So that's all about the mindset. And I would recommend you to get the book called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. That will help you start on the journey to developing the right kind of entrepreneur mindset. The second thing you're going to need, the second leg of the stool, is the right skill set. Okay, the right skill set. I mean, you got to develop. I mean, because there's a skill set on recruiting. There's a skill set on promoting events. There's a skill set you're going to need in order to be a great presenter like the Chris Laddens of the world. Okay, that's a skill. Jim Rohn put it like this. He says, skills make labor more valuable. Let me say that again. Skills make labor more valuable. Why is it so important for you to learn some skills, ladies and gentlemen? Because when you learn skills, I mean, some people make 5,000 a month in 7K Metals because they develop a 5,000 a month skill set. Some people make 10,000 a month in 7K Metals because they have developed a 10,000 a month skill set. Okay, skills make labor more valuable. See, let's just say Susan has an excellent skill set. If she's developed a superior skill set, let's just say in promoting for events, she and I can promote for the same event. But if her skill set is superior, she'll have more people at the event because she developed a higher skill set. Okay? And again, the thing I love about it, in order for you to be successful in network marketing, if you don't come in with it, it can be learned. Okay? So what book would I recommend to start you on the journey to developing a skill set? This book right here, the #1 best-selling book of all time in network marketing, called Go Pro by Eric Worre. If you can see, mine is beat up. I've read it at least 35 times. I have to tape it up like an old Bible. because, it fell apart a couple of times, but this is my original copy when the book came out in 2012. This is my original copy of the book. Okay. It starts you out on a journey to give you some basics as far as skill set. Now, what's Eric Worre's story? Why do we encourage you to go pro? Here's the reason why. Tiger Woods played the same amount of tournaments in 1995 that he did in 1996. But in 1996, Tiger Woods made $18 million. What's the difference? He decided to go pro. He decided to utilize those skills that he had developed and turn them into financial gain. Okay? That's what skills will do for you. If you utilize the skills that you develop over the years, they will turn into financial gain. And once you develop those skills, not only will it turn into financial gain here in network marketing, it'll turn to financial gain in other types of business as well. It'll make you even more successful on your job. It'll make you successful in other arenas. That's why we encourage you to learn and develop you some skills. Okay? So if you're going to be successful in network marketing, and we're going to talk about one particular skill set today, you got to have the right mindset. And the book I recommend to start you on the journey on the mindset is The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. You got to have the right skill set. And again, the first book I recommend you read, I've read hundreds of books in my 21-year career, is the book Go Pro. This is the number one best-selling book of all time in network marketing. Okay, it used to be Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell, but this book surpassed it because Eric Worre has sold over 4 million copies of these since 2012 that I'm aware of. Okay, and I've bought hundreds of these just to give out to new people getting started on our team. So you're going to need the right skill set. You're going to need the right mindset. And the third component, if you're in 7K metals, you already have, and that is the right opportunity at the right time. The right opportunity, the right time. Okay. So now let's talk about skill set. And I see my man, Mr. Scott Zuckman, on here, Gold Associate. And so we can tag team some things today. But what we're going to do, we're going to talk about skill set number 2 in the book. Eric Worre talks about 7 skill sets to be successful. Not 70, not 700, but 7 skill sets. If you get good at them, you'll make full-time income on a part-time basis. If you start mastering a few of them, now you're looking at the people that make 6 figures, 7 figures, and 8 figures a year, which is $10 million plus. All right? Now, the 7 skill set he talks about in there, and if you don't already have the book, you can find it online. It's on Audible, but I would recommend you to get the hard copy like myself so you can take notes and go back and look at it from time to time. You can also get the Audible, so when you're driving throughout the course of the day, you can make your vehicle, turn your vehicle into a library on wheels. Okay. So let's talk about, I'm going to mention the 7 skill sets, and we're going to talk about, to me, one of the most critical ones, and that's skill set number 2. All right. But the first skill set that he talks about uh, is finding prospects. Okay. And he talks about what you need to do to find prospects from your warm market to the cold market, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we got to find prospects to build our network. Skill set number 2, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is inviting prospects to understand your product or your opportunity. That's skill set number 2. Skill set number 3 is presenting your product or opportunity to the prospect, your presenting skills. And for those of you who are on the school today, uh, Chris Ladden has one of the best, if not the best, skill set when it comes to presenting this opportunity. Matter of fact, put a 5 in the chat if you agree. For those of you who heard Mr. Chris Ladden present today. I mean, and here's the beautiful thing about it. If you just saw him 8.5 years ago, you wouldn't have felt that way. He'll tell you, 8.5 years ago, wasn't nowhere close. But he kept honing his skills to the point that he's one of the most sought after presenters of the opportunity of the wealth strategy today, and not just in in Idaho where he lives at, but I'm talking about worldwide. People want to hear Mr. Chris Ladden do this presentation because he honed his skill on presenting. All right, the third skill, that's the third skill on presenting. Skill number 4 is following up with your prospect. Put a 2 in the chat if you've ever heard this thing in sales. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow. So he talks about how to follow up a prospect so that you can have success. Skill set number 5 is helping your prospects after you follow up become a customer or distributor. So basically the closing aspect of it. Skill set number 6, helping your new distributor get started right, the game planning session, the enrollment process, whatever the case may be. And then skill set number 7, of all the skill set, Eric Worre said that's the one that made him the most money, and that's promoting for events. Okay, promoting for events. That's another reason why you need to see the movie, uh, The Greatest Showman, because one of the greatest promoters that ever graced the planet was P.T. Barnum. And Eric Worre said reason why that made him. Eric Worre made over 15 million in his 25-year career. But he said that skill, promoting for the events, by far made him the most money. He said, because at the end of the day, I can put the butts in the seats. Okay. He's great at that. That's why, he's one of the greatest professionals that ever lived when it comes to network marketing. But today we're going to talk about the skill set of inviting prospects to understand your product or opportunity. The skill of inviting. Okay. Now, Eric Worre calls that the gateway skill. Okay. It's the gateway skill when it comes to network marketing. Because if you're not successful at getting people to just take a look at it, I already know what your paycheck gonna look like. Okay. Now, here's the thing I want you to focus on. I want you to write down control what you can control. See, so many people get frustrated because they're trying to control stuff they have no control over. But control what you can control, meaning this. Here are the numbers in network marketing worldwide across any opportunity. They say the average person signs up in any network marketing company after 4 to 6 exposures. I don't care what the company is. I don't care what the opportunity is. The average person signs up after 4 to 6 exposures. Okay. So if I understand that to be true, what I focus on and what I'm going to encourage each and every one of you guys to focus on is controlling what you can control. Every single day, I focus on getting people exposure after exposure after exposure. I can control that. I can't control how many people sign up. What I can control is how many people I properly expose to the business. If I understand that the average person is going to sign up after 4 to 6 exposure, I should not get upset when I first send them a video, they ain't ready to sign up. I should not, if they say they're not ready right now, I shouldn't go home and ball up in a fetal position and cry my eyes out because Johnny said he's not ready. Because Amy says she is not ready, that Amy needs to get some more information. Because I understand it takes 4 to 6. Now, of the 520 plus people that we've signed up over the last, 8.5, nearly 9 years, put in the chat, how many of those people do you think signed up after just one exposure? And I'm going to give you the numbers. Okay? Now, I'm a professional network marketer. But put in the chat, how many of those 520 plus people do you think signed up after one exposure? I sent them a video and they was ready to sign up. Put in the chat. I want to see what kind of numbers y'all got in there. Okay? Okay. So I actually went back and over the years. I looked at those numbers, okay? Okay, let me see what you guys are putting in there. The number is actually 35, ladies and gentlemen. 35 of the 520 people that I've signed up after just one exposure. And here's what they all had in common. They all had done network marketing before, and they were familiar with gold and silver. So I sent them a video, and when I went to follow up, they said, listen, I'm ready to sign up, send me your link. Okay, now I don't look for that. Okay, I don't look for that. If it happens, it's icing on the cake. Okay, it's icing on the cake. So only 35 out of 520 signed up after one exposure. Okay, I would say 60% of the people I've signed up, they did it after 2 exposures. And I'm going to share with you my method. You can do the same. And he talks about in this book. I want to do what professionals do. The people that have made millions of dollars in space, I want to do what they did. I ain't trying to reinvent the wheel. I want to do what they did. If they made 10 million, I want to do what the $10 million people did. If they made 20 million, if they made 100 million. I want to do what the $100 million people did. Okay. And here's what most professionals do. The first exposure, after they find out if you're open, because I'm not just sending my videos out to just all willy-nilly like to just anybody. So after I find out if they're open, I use a real simple peak interest question. Outside of what you're currently doing, are you open to another stream of revenue? Outside of what you're currently doing, are you open to another cash flow? Or for a little bit more advanced, for those of you that are a little bit more advanced and you know the business, I might ask a friend of mine, what kind of income insurance do you have? And then I let that lead me to me sending out a video to them. Okay? So those are the deals. So only after they say, I'm open to take a look at something, I'm open to watch a video, do I send out a video. Because here's what professionals do. Their first exposure, they send out something that's not going to take up any of their time, a very little of their time. And 7K has given us those tools. And with the share links in your back office, those are tools that not only can you send it out, but you can track what they watched. You can track how many times they watched it. You can track how long they watched it, and if they watch other videos. One of the most valuable tools that 7K has given it that come with your membership is the share links. Okay? So that being said, when I send out that link, I utilize a method called BAM FAM. This is what I learned from a guy that's made over 100 million in network marketing, and he lives right here in the Houston area. I want you to write down the acronym BAM FAM. BAM FAM. BAM FAM. This is something I've practiced and I've mastered this over the last 10 years. What is BAM FAM? BAM FAM stands for book a meeting from a meeting. Let me say that again. Book a meeting from a meeting. So what does that look like? What that looks like is this, ladies and gentlemen. If I pique someone's interest, and they said they're open to getting some more information, I said, listen, I'm very busy. I don't have time to go into details right now. But if I send you a video, would you watch it? If I send you a link, would you take a look at it? If they say yes, okay, then my next question is, when do you think you'll be able to take a look at it? Well, I can look at it tonight. I can look at it tomorrow after church, whatever the case may be. So I don't try. A lot of people teach you to lock them in a certain window as far as your follow-up. What Eric Warray teaches, and that more so resonates with me because we have similar personalities. I'm looking to work with people that have honesty and integrity. So I'm not going to box you in. I'm going to call you between Tuesday and Wednesday, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to box you in. I'm going to ask you, what's a good time for us to talk after you watch the video? And if you say, okay, let's talk tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, then I'm going to put it on my calendar. And at tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, you and I are going to have a conversation. Okay? Really, really simple. I use BAM FAM. I never get off the phone. When I'm prospecting, when that prospecting starts, when the dance starts, and I equate that to a dance. It's like when I went to the club back in the day. If I ask somebody to dance and they say, yes, we're going to dance, okay, now we're going to see where that leads from here. Okay? So I equate recruiting or prospecting, that starts the dance. I'm going to ask you, are you open to another stream of revenue? If you say yes, now we're dancing. Now I'm going to bam fam you. I'm going to send you something, and then I'm going to set up a time to follow up. I'm not getting off the phone until I know that we're talking tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I'm not going to leave my business to chance, and you should leave your business to chance. The impression your prospect should have of you. Tony's in business. Chris is in business. Sally is in business. Joseph is in business. That's the impression your prospect should have of you, because you're not getting off the phone until you set up the next time that we're going to talk about the business. Okay? Bam fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. I never get off the phone. throughout this whole process, from follow up to the second exposure, we don't get off the phone till we got a date. We already got a date. Just think about it when many of y'all were back in the dating world. I'm not leaving the club till, hey, when's the next date? I'm not gonna see you here tomorrow night, whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm not leaving it to chance. And you shouldn't leave your business to chance. Here's what one of my mentors told me early on in network marketing. If you treat your business casual, you'll become a casualty. Let me say that again for those of you on the back row. If you treat your business casual, and that's one of the reasons why some of you are not having success, you will become a casualty. All right? So let's talk about this skill, and I'm going to bring on Mr. Scott Zuckman. So if he wants to input on that part, and then we're going to do some role playing, and we're going to wrap it up. Okay. Now, what Eric White talks about, inviting prospects to understand the deal, he talks about, and we won't go into detail on this part because he goes really into detail. He talks about 4 rules and 8 steps. 4 rules and 8 steps. I'm going to cover the rules, and then I'm gonna bring on Mr. Scott Zuckman to kind of talk about it, and then I'm going to go through what I normally do to get people to at least take a look at the video and everything else. But rule number 1, he said you must emotionally detach yourself from the outcome. That's where some of you guys that knocks you out of the box. You got to emotionally detach yourself from the outcome. You have to have the mentality like a waiter at a restaurant. I'm asking you, do you want coffee or tea? I'm not going to crawl up in a fetal position if you say, you know what, I don't want either one of them, I want Coke. I'm cool with that. Just bring me a water and lemon. I'm cool with that. So if you notice, that waiter don't get upset if you don't want coffee or tea. Okay? So you got to emotionally detach yourself from the outcome. When I ask you, are you open to another stream of revenue? If you say no, that's on you. If I ask you, are you open to an additional cash flow? If you say no, that's on you. I'm not going to roll up in a fetal position. And I'm not going to cry my eyes out because you are not open to another stream of revenue. Okay? So rule number 1, you got to emotionally detach yourself from the outcome, whether they say yes or whether they say no. Rule number 2, be yourself. Here's what I found to be true in entrepreneurship. And Mr. Scott Zuckman has been an entrepreneur far longer, and he's made millions of dollars as an entrepreneur, both in the network marketing space and in various type of business and a lot in the real estate arena. But rule number 2 is to be yourself. And here's what I found to be true. We're all born an original, but unfortunately, most people die a copy. Okay? We're all born an original. Unfortunately, most people die a copy. Learn the basics and then do you. When I'm teaching people how to do presentation, when I'm teaching people how to follow up, learn the basics and then do you. Do it within your personality. Now you come across as genuine. Now you come across as authentic. So rule number 2, be yourself. Rule number 3, bring some passion. People got to feel you, ladies and gentlemen. They need to know if nobody's serious about this business, you serious about this business. Yeah, bring some enthusiasm is contagious. Okay? People don't want to be a part of something if you're not even excited about it. So bring some passion. People got to feel you. It was a great Maya Angelou who had a quote. She said, people may forget what you say. They may even forget what you do. They will never forget the way you made them feel. So bring some passion. I don't want to be a part of something if you ain't even excited about it. Okay? And then rule number 4, have a strong posture. You got to realize, ladies and gentlemen, when I have a strong posture, my prospect know I am not in a convincing business. You are not in the convincing business. Okay? Bring passion, not pressure. I like that, Scott. You got to bring up passion. Now, what's the difference between posture and arrogance? Because there is a difference. There's the people that hardy about it and they hadn't really accomplished anything. Posture, all posture simply is, ladies and gentlemen, is that your prospect knows that the train is going to go to the station whether they get on board or not. I'm not coming across arrogant. I'm just letting you know I'm not begging. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. I mean, so you know that, hey, I got the gold brick. I got the 100-ounce silver bar. So I'm not begging anybody. I got something I want to be a blessing to you about. Okay? So you got to have that posture. And what allows you to have posture, the more success you have, the more posture you'll have. In the beginning, you got to use somebody else's posture. Okay? But I'm going to bring on, before I go through an example of my inviting skill, I'm going to bring on a gentleman I have the utmost respect for, Mr. Scott Zuckman. He's a gold associate. Uh, a little over 100 people got the 100-ounce silver bar because they hit silver in 90 days or less. He is one of those. So back in December 2021 is when we brought on Mr. Scott Zuckman. I've known him for over 10 years. He was a part of my team in my first gold and silver company. And, he was one of the ones that I talked to about going up here at the very beginning and meeting with these guys, but the timing was not right. It was not 12 o'clock in his life. But I'm so glad that we continue to follow up, and we found him when it was 12 o'clock in his life. We had a regional event in Salt Lake where he lives. Invited him out. He got a chance to see the difference in the company from when we initially talked about it. He came on board, and now he has thousands of individuals on his team, and he's earned a significant amount of money and collected a significant amount of gold and silver since December of 2021. So without further ado, let's hear from top producing gold associate, my friend, Mr. Scott Zuckman. Take it away, sir.
Okay, thanks, Tony. That was wonderful. I appreciate you. It was a great presentation so far, because I think these are the things I want to highlight in a different way of what you said. I'll start backwards. Like the most recent thing you said was it wasn't 12 o'clock in my life when you first, talked to me 8.5 years ago. But you stayed with me. And you said earlier, the fortune is in the follow-up. And literally everybody, Tony, I'm sure, put me on his calendar. Call Scott at a certain date, and it pops up, and then he called me. And he stayed in touch with me like literally annually. No, Tony, still not the right time. No, Tony, still not the right time. No. Until finally, and this was after COVID, about a year after COVID, that's when I said, I've had enough of this. And it was almost actually 2 years. And I said, I don't like it. I'm retired now. I'm not doing what I was doing. So things became different, and it was 12 o'clock in my life, and I needed to make a change or do something. I was more open. And that's the thing. Because people say no doesn't mean they're saying no to you or no to the opportunity. They're actually saying, no, it's just not the right time. And if you have that in your mind, let it flow, you're going to be good. I want to just stress that. But going back to some of the other things that he said, this is something I learned a long time ago in presentation. You see, I'm going to ask you a question before I say what I'm about to say. So in the chat, would you please type a short response on what you think the reason most people, when you first present it to them, reject it? Because you're going to get more no's than yeses. So unless you're really professional like Tony, you'll be able to get more, videos sent out, and book a meeting from a meeting. So, okay, pyramid, fear of change. Keep going. Lack of knowledge and fear of being scammed. All of these are correct so far. Keep going. You're not making any money. Yeah. People don't understand why they need precious metals. Good. Every single one of these is true. What do you think is the most common? If that's what you think is most common, nobody quite hit it. The number one reason why people would say no time, that's another one, but is because they cannot envision themselves doing what it takes to make this work. Sean, I think you're closest, believe. And so I want to say that again. A lot of people will just approach their prospects with, hey, I'm involved with gold and silver. What do you know about gold and silver? And people are, even though you're passionate, you're excited, you're trying to give a message, they don't believe they can go out and approach people the same way. And so mark this down. People will not do what you say or tell them to do. They're going to do what you show them to do. They're not going to base on what you say, it's on what you do. And how you approach a person is how they immediately feel they need to be approached. And the way they need to approach other people. That's what they're going to think. Oh, Scott did it to me this way. I'm going to have to emulate that. So think of it this way. Be the best you, not the second best Tony. Be the best you, not the second best Scott. Okay? I'm making a point here. Don't try to imitate us. Do take what we share and how we do it and modify it to your style of doing it. For example, when Tony mentioned, aside from what you do now to make money, are you open to additional streams of income? You're leading with the money-making angle of this business. The number one assumption somebody's going to make is it's MLM, because chances are they've been approached a million times. So there's two answers you're going to get. You almost never get a no, but sometimes you do. So I say almost never, but you're going to get yeses. I'm open. What is it? And then the other one is maybe, depends on what you're talking about. Both of those two are asking you to give them more information. And let me tell you right here, right now, that's where 95% of all new networkers screw up, especially new ones, not somebody who's already been in another company. They just start vomiting all over the person about gold, silver, dollar losing value, you can make residual income. They go down a path. I'll bet, and I'm not going to do it, but I'll bet if I asked you, many of you on this call have found yourself doing that with prospects. And then the second you do, 99% of them are going to put a wall down and shut you off. Okay? Happened to me just, 4 days ago? I was taking an Uber ride, talking to the Uber driver. Asked me what I do, which is what I want them to ask. I always try to get the conversation into where they ask me what I do. And the worst thing you can do is sit in the back of an Uber and not say a word. Okay? Use the opportunity. Have your business cards with you, something. But I say, I'm in the gold and silver business. Now, just putting it like that, a lot of people just go, well, in what way? I say, listen, I'm running short time. We're getting near our destination. I'd love to share it with you, but I'll tell you what, I have like a 4-minute video, which will kind of explain everything very simple. Do you mind if we exchange information? And is it okay if I were to text a video to you, or do you prefer email? Okay. Giving them a choice. And this one driver said, text is great. Here's my phone number. Actually had a card and gave me the phone number. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to immediately text you right now and save my name. Hi, Scott Zuckman. Here's my phone number. And by the way, here's my email if you want to put me under contacts. So when I send you the video, and I'll do that in a few minutes, but I got to get to, out of the car. When you do that, we'll talk. When's a good time to talk? Well, I'm going out of town this weekend. I've got a little camping trip with my husband and the kids, so I'm not going to be able to watch it until, after I'm back. And I said, that's fine. Are you back Monday, Tuesday? And she goes, yeah, I'll be able to have it watched by Tuesday. And I said, okay, great. Then what's a good time for you? And she told me a time. I said, great. And so I texted her my info. And before I could send the video, I get a text from her saying, is this MLM? And you can almost hear the tone in the text. Basically, it said, don't even bother sending me the video if it's MLM. And I just said, all right, thank you for your time. I enjoyed the talk. And I didn't push it. All right. So if they're already turned off, don't try to convince them against their will, right? That's what Tony was just saying. So I'm trying to back up some of these things, give you some scenarios. But what I was hoping would happen is before she texted me, is this MLM? I would have had time to send her that link. So let me give you a hint. Copy these links and save them somewhere on your phone so that you can quickly get the video out. It should probably be the Pique video 99% of the time. But if somebody has had some experience or you've learned, they're professional, then definitely a share video like the 9-minute. Okay. In our share links, just so you know, when you create a share link, they have to watch all 3 videos in the presentation. They have to watch all four videos in the Pique. And I like the last one of the 4. I'd rather them not see the other 3 first, but they're short. So even if they do, they're going to hopefully go to the next one, and I'll see what they watched in the share links. But what I've also done is I've copied a direct link to the direct Vimeo. So once you're watching on Vimeo, you can always copy the link. If you don't know how, most of you here on the line know Sally Mary. She'll send it to you. All the links. She already has them all. So I just wanted to cover those quick highlights of what some of Tony says, so we leave some time for role playing. When you're talking to somebody, it's just to be able to get them to watch a piece of material. Now, if it takes 4 to 6 times on average, some people take once, some people take 15. Tony, I know it took him more than, I'd say 10, 12 times that he presented to me before I was open-minded enough to listen more thoroughly. And so everybody's different. It'll average out to 4 to 6. So be willing to go through that cycle. And the best way is one video is, if you want to count that, here's how. Be genuine, be sincere, be energetic, follow the rules that we just talked about with Eric Worre. And remember this, people do business with people they like. And people like themselves. So if you've got a slow talker that you're talking with, you need to slow down your talk, but keep the energy in there. I hope you get what I was just doing. If they're a fast talker, like they go like this, or from New York, and so, all right, come on, move on, tell me what you want, then I go, hey, I'm in the gold and silver business. Listen, I'm in a hurry. You're in a hurry. How about I just send you a video? It'll, watch it for about 4 minutes. It'll tell you everything you need to know. You have 4 minutes of time available, and talk the way they talk. Why? Builds rapport, and it's instant rapport. Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, covers this tremendously well. Zig Ziglar's book covers it tremendously. You take any good salesperson, they're going to say, you can't even get people to listen to you until they like you. And they're going to like you the more you are like them. I hope you get that. Then they need to trust you. How do you get people to trust you? The number one way is say what you mean and do what you say. Okay? Tell them you're kind of busy like, especially if you're on the phone. Hey, listen, I was just walking out the door. I thought of you. I thought I'd reach out real quick because I wanted to ask you a question. Aside from what you do, what do you do? You know, that's somebody you already know, obviously. And then follow through. Okay. But again, you probably have a relationship. So when you're doing this, go ahead and start the right way. And no pressure. I really believe that if you pressure them, the defenses come right down. You have to open it up with questions. Don't grill them. Just common questions. All right. You know, if you don't know them, it's a stranger when they're driving Uber. One of the things I said to that lady is, aside from Uber, what else do you do for income? And she says, I'm a realtor. And I go, okay. You know, I'm sorry, here in Salt Lake City, real estate's a little slow right now. Have you found it to be a little slow? She said, yeah, I kind of do it with my husband, but we don't need a lot of money. We're doing okay. So I get bored and I'm driving Uber because I'm bored. So I took the board and that's what I went with. You know, would you like to maybe do something that is not boring and makes you money also? And you know, yeah, I'm interested in that. Obviously, yeah, listen, they wouldn't be driving Uber because they're bored only. She needs the money. And if she's driving Uber, I assume the realty thing is a part-time gig. It's probably not something that's making her a lot of money. All right. So you got to just kind of listen and go with it. Now, with that all being said, and you book the meeting, how about what you say on the next call? That's something Tony and I could role play, or we could also role play both the initial and then what do you say follow up? Because this is where a lot of people blow it. You know, I'll give you my favorite thing, and you might modify it to your own style. But I won't say, what did you think? In fact, you should write this down in a circle with a big line through it. Do not ever say, what do you think? Because the first thing they're going to do is come up with objections. That's just the way brain works. You got to say, what did you like best about what you saw? Okay. What did you like best about what you saw? That's how you should open your follow-up after they've watched the video. They're either going to say this part, and they'll tell you, or they'll say, you know, I didn't watch it. I'm so sorry. I didn't watch it. I got busy. Or do not chastise them. You find a lot of beginners do that. You said you were going to do this. That's why I'm calling you now. You told me you haven't watched. That will come through and you've just lost it. It's over right there. Just put a gun on it. It's over dead. So just be cool with it. Say, yeah, that happens. Okay. When do you think you could for sure watch it? Then I let them answer. Now, some people like to give a time frame. Like they'll say, and this is an option. It depends on your style, but they might say, okay, over the next, 24 to 48 hours, when could you for sure watch it? And then the reason I don't do that is because they often have said, I'm not going to have time in those next 48 hours either. And so that's why I don't bother letting them have that out. So I just say, when could you for sure watch it? And let them name the time. And then you say, so for sure, I call you at this time after you've watched it, then we can have a conversation. They'll say, yeah, absolutely. Doesn't mean they mean it. It's just what they'll say. And then you start the process over on the next time. Okay. So I wanted to make sure we added that. And Tony, if you want to come back in, you're the master. I'll be the prospect. And unless somebody would like to volunteer. As a matter of fact,
Yeah,
I
let's
prefer
see
to
if we can get a volunteer and you do a
Yeah.
role play with the volunteer.
Yeah, okay. I certainly can do that. I'd like to have a volunteer. And here's what I want you to do. Put your name in the chat so I can let you unmute. But what I want you to do is think of something a prospect has done or said to you recently that you didn't know what to do with, or, didn't work out well. And I'm gonna have you pretend to be that person. Does that make some sense? I know somebody on this call surely did. Okay, so come on, step it up. Now we're gonna find out who just has this call playing in the background that's not really paying attention.
I see a couple of them on here that we've talked about this before. Okay, Scott Crabtree. All right, good deal. All right,
All right, Tony, let him in.
Go ahead, Scott. Scott
Hey,
and Scott Crabtree. Go ahead.
yes, sir. Hey, Mr. Scott. Hey, yeah. So an objection is like, oh, I've got a gold dealer.
No.
No.
I don't want to hear it. No, I'm interrupting you. I don't want to hear it. I want an unbiased thing. What I want you to do is tell me where you met this person. Is it a friend? Is it a brand new acquaintance?
Oh, yeah.
Give me a
It's
context. That's all I want right now.
long-time acquaintance.
A long-time acquaintance.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to approach you, and I'd like you to, by the way, was it on the phone or in person?
Oh, in person.
Okay, great. So let's go. Hey, Scott, by the way, did you book this meeting or it was just random?
It was a random, it was an intro to a conversation.
Yes, perfect. That's great. I've got enough. I'm just going to work from it, and you answer as that person would have. I'm going to call you Scott. Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah,
sure. Hey, Scott, hey, it's good to see you. I don't have a lot of time, but I would like to catch up a little bit. Are you still doing the same thing you were doing work-wise?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Are you still loving it, or is it the same old grind that you kind of told me you were sick and tired of, but
I'm trying to work my way. I'm trying to work myself out of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I remember. That's great. And listen, so if I said, would you be open to hearing about another way to make some more income, you'd be open to that, yeah?
Well, maybe. What is it?
Yeah, great. Well, as I said, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I got a short video that I can text you here in a few minutes as I'm going away, and it'll explain everything. So when do you think, if I send it here within the next 5 minutes, you'll be able to set aside 4, 5, 6 minutes to watch it?
Oh, probably tonight after dinner.
Tonight after dinner?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you're an early eater or a late eater, but if I called you around 8 p.m. tonight, would you be able to talk for a few minutes?
You may. Yeah. Give me a shot. Sure.
Okay, good. Tell you what, then you watch the video. We'll discuss it and have a conversation when I call you back at 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay. Sure. Sounds good.
Good. Got to see you. And now you get out of there. Okay, now let's carry on this. Let's say now I've called you at 8, right? And we'll take it from there.
Okay. Hello.
And let's say I sent you the Pique video where it just gets your interest, tells you a little bit about the overview of the company, basics. Okay, so hey Scott, thanks for taking my call. I'm hoping you had a great dinner.
Oh yeah, not bad.
Okay, great. And I know you watched the video, so what did you like best about it?
Well, yeah, gold and silver's pretty good. I mean, it never goes away. I messed around. My family members all have gold people they deal with. Something I don't. It was very kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure it is interesting. And you know what? I'm glad that you've dabbled with gold and silver over the years. It means you understand the value of it. It's a true asset and all of that you saw in the video. So that's wonderful. So since you say it was interesting, let me ask you a quick question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being, I love it so much, I'm already made up my mind I'm going to do it. One have zero interest in this at all based on what I saw, which of course is not going to be the case. But what number would you say you're at?
Thank you for watching. We appreciate your time. Have a lovely day evening, or night. We love you. Bye.